Hi, everybody. Welcome to FNS Wrestling Podcast. We're doing a bonus episode, not a Saturday. It's not another episode of the flagship show. So that tells you something because we do not generally carve out time for pay-per-view reviews unless we thought it was something pretty fantastic. So yesterday was AEW All Out 2024, and we watched it. There's a lot of things to talk about from that show, yes?
Quite a bit.
Overall, I don't think we're ruining anything to say it here. Just a fantastic show. Lots of things coming out of this to talk about. Really pushing the envelope in terms of televised violence, right, on this pay-per-view. So, so many things to talk about. We're going to kind of go through every match. We'll do some of the key moves and stuff, give our opinions on it, and play over-under accurate, I think, right? We've got cage match. We don't have Meltzer, but we do have cage match that we can compare it to. Now, we did not watch the, what's it called? The Zero Hour.
I thought it was like Bang Bang Gang, Dark Order, Bear County was on there.
And you can pretty much guess who won, right? I would imagine out of all of the matches.
It was nothing that seemed like anything I'd remotely watch.
Right, and you didn't get spoiled. You worked, so we had to start an hour late, but you thought you got spoiled, but you didn't, as it turned out.
I did, but
because you saw an image that you thought told you who won the opening match, but it was incorrect, actually.
Misinterpreted.
Yeah, so we watched all of this in one sitting. We watched all of this without any spoilers for you. I never have any, so that was pretty rare. But so I say we get right into this, right? If you want to fill in any details, because this isn't the most thorough
see what I can
recaps, but if you remember things. But we just watched it yesterday, so I should remember most things as well. So the show opens, right, with MJF taking on Daniel Garcia. You have Nigel McGuinness joining broadcast booth for the main card. I don't think he was on 0 Hour, but he's here. So you've got Garcia.
Let's have Menard on commentary for this one.
Oh yes, right, as well. Who I don't really notice even, to be honest, when he's there.
He's not my favorite, but he's not offensive.
Yeah, Garcia ambushes MJF as he's making his entrance. Right,
he came out of the flag.
That's right. Oh, that's right. That was your theory that he had dropped out of the rolled up flag that was there, right? So he came out of nowhere to attack before the match even begins. MJF finally stops him with a neck breaker and then DDT. So Garcia regained momentum with a clothesline, hit 3 consecutive twisting neck breakers. MJF caught Garcia, hit a power bomb onto his knee, which looked pretty good, right?
Always looks good.
MJF was biting Garcia's head, opening a cut, I guess, that he sustained
from the bottle.
From Dynamite.
He had like a head bandage for most of the early portion.
So it was the wine bottle cut that MJF is biting to reopen. So we've got that going. Diving DDT from Garcia off the top. MJF mule kicks Garcia and then hits a Panama Sunrise we get. Garcia rallies back with a flurry of elbow strikes. Looks like he's starting to get rolling, and MJF just pokes him in the eyes, right, to stop that flurry. And then just a big right hand from MJF sort of flattens Garcia. Then we get Garcia hits a German suplex, then a huge lariat. The fans are starting to get into this. This is awesome chants on this show. There's one here. MJF puts Garcia in the walls of Jericho. Garcia escapes and puts MJF into a label lock, which gets countered with a cradle for a 2 count. MJF then locks in a crossface. Garcia escapes and puts MJF into a dragon tamer. MJF escapes that, counters with an armbar. Garcia grabs MJF, gets ready for a pile driver, and hits a jumping pile driver, covers MJF, but just a 2 count there. Looked pretty good.
That one was pretty stellar.
MJF shoves the ref, hits Garcia with a low blow, and then steals the win basically with a jackknife pin kind of thing, right? So sort of involving...
I kept saying Garcia was one with that a bunch, and I don't ever remember that.
Yeah, so post-match, MJF extends his hand to Garcia, right? Garcia accepts it, so we look like we're having a bit of a moment. But Garcia's one step ahead because MJF goes for a low blow there. Garcia gives sort of catches the leg, I think it was, right? And then hits a low blow to MJF. He picks Garcia up onto the turnbuckles and hits a pile driver off the turnbuckle, right? So I think it was Garcia's music playing, right? And he's standing tall, even though he didn't win the match.
Yeah.
So your thoughts on the match?
I thought it was a pretty good opener, and the crowd was into it. I thought Garcia looked good against MJF. He got enough.
Good intensity from him, for sure.
And both of them targeting the other's kind of neck head area.
Yes.
Like, had a story to go off of throughout the whole time. And MJF's customarily good.
Yeah.
I thought it was pretty good. It was one of the longer matches. Slightly.
It was, surprisingly.
I don't agree with the result just because...
We talked about it, right?
They kind of gave Garcia his moment anyways, but which I guess... And they said his whole point was he just wanted to kill MJF, not necessarily win.
Right. And
So I
so
guess he kind of got that still. But to me, I feel like winning would still be kind of what he needs.
and that was one of the contrasts we noticed, which was kind of cool because you've got MJF, who is at early on in the match, right, willing to take a count out.
Yeah.
And then what did we say? It contrasted Garcia, who was something of the opposite. I can't
Yeah,
remember
I
what
don't
it
remember
was.
exactly either, but I know what you're
Um,
talking about.
so yeah, I thought this was a really good opener. Good intensity from Garcia, really good sort of back and forth. MJF needing to take shortcuts as he tends to do. So I really like this match. I thought it was. I'll say it right here. The first 4 matches on this show, like it's an all time start to a pay per
They
view. I
were
think.
firing on all cylinders for
So I
sure.
really enjoyed this. It's
I really
just
liked it. Yeah.
further evidence that MJF is awesome in the ring. But again, like now, what do we do with Garcia? Like, I think they're saying that this will continue, and Garcia maybe gets a win on a bigger stage.
I
But
thought this was like him getting the comeuppance he wanted, regardless of the outcome. So I guess I feel like it's maybe done.
so it's done because he hit the pile driver after,
Yeah, because his goal was to maim MJF, like
right?
he got
So he
killed.
did get to
So
do that, but didn't win. So
yeah,
goal accomplished. His goal was just a strange one, maybe to not win.
I guess.
So again, we said like this is another kind of for us a stop and start of Garcia. So it's like he's now become the. I said it
Kind of
on.
depends how they handle it after this, because like I said, if this was his goal and he got that, then like he can kind of move on and start doing stuff. But it kind of depends how they handle it after.
Yeah, and it's just now you're training us. This is a good wrestler who doesn't ever win, right?
Yeah,
So and you start to give him some traction, and then you pull it away.
yeah.
What for over under accurate? What do we have from
Cage
Cage
match was
Match?
7.76.
So I'm a little over. I went 4 stars. I thought this was a really good match to start this show.
I thought it was really strong. I don't know if I would quite go there just because of some of the strength of some of the other matches. So I'll go 3 3/4.
Okay, that's fair.
But I still really enjoyed it. It's just definitely not my favorite match of the night, and that is in no way a reflection of this match.
Yeah. And so even after the first 4 matches, right, the next match, I was like, oh, that's the worst match of the first 4, but like still really good. And that match is next, and it's the AEW World Tag Team Championship match. Young Bucks coming in as champions, Matthew Nicholas Jackson taking on Blackpool Combat Club, represented by Claudio Castagnoli and Wheeler Yuta.
The equals,
The equals, right?
Claudio and Wheeler.
Yeah.
Yeah,
What was that? Was that
they
a
like said Claudio sees like clearly Claudio sees him as an equal now or something like
yeah?
that, and we
Like,
were just
no,
going on,
nobody else does. So
and
that's the new joke.
clearly not later.
Yeah, exactly. Uh, so the Bucks are working really well early on, using a lot of their like patented tag team offense on Wheeler Yuta. Finally, Yuta ducks a lariat attempt, crawls over, tags in Claudio. Claudio cleans house on the Bucks with a lot of European uppercuts. Uh, Yuta gets his seatbelt at one point on Matt, but Matt's able to get out of it, which I didn't love. I thought it should have been broken up because that is a pretty
They're pretty
like
tough. Yeah, yeah,
solid
for
looking
sure.
pinfall. Nick super kicks Yuta. Wheeler then hits a thrust kick to Nick and a German suplex to Matt. Yuta puts Matt into the cattle mutilation, sort of a shout out to Danielson there. But Nick breaks it up with a senton atomico. The Bucks get Claudio with an EVP trigger. Yuta jumps in to break up the pin attempt on Claudio. The Bucks then take a moment to pump up their sneakers and hit super kicks to Claudio again. Claudio blocks another EVP trigger. He ends up double suplexing them in sort of a spot that I feel like the Bucks should have seen coming, right? Like we saw it coming, so they should have too. Anyways, Claudio sends Matt Jackson around the ring, a lot of revolutions on the giant
Yeah,
swing
big
for that
one.
one, right?
No drop kick on the end though.
No drop kick. Claudio superplexes Matt, goes for the fastball special, but Matt was playing possum, countered by lifting his knees, getting the knees up on Yuta. And then Matt cradles Yuta, kind of a similar to nitpick finish to the first match, right?
Somewhat, but I like
Will
this one just
Washington.
because it thought it was a creative way to just kind of get a fast finish there.
It
I
was.
liked it here.
And Matt does get the pinfall on Wheeler Yuta for the 3 count. How long was this match?
This one was short, 15:45.
Yeah, so I thought it kind of started out
Second short,
a bit
third
slow
shortest.
and was just kind of decent. And then I thought it really picked up. And by the end, I quite liked it. Not quite as much as the opener, but you did have the Bucks doing all of their tandem stuff for the most part. And Claudio's the powerhouse. And then you've got Yuta as the kind of technician. So you have a nice collection of different styles in this. And I thought they worked really well together. The build didn't seem great, right? So that's going to hurt it a little bit.
Yeah,
It was just kind of put together. And Claudio and Yuta don't even really work as a tag team very often. They're trios guys, but so that was a bit strange, but I thought by the end, the action was really good and it was a very entertaining match. It kind of like kept the energy of the crowd, right? There wasn't a lull at this point, and you could feel when the lull came
yeah, you
in
could
this
definitely
show.
tell.
And this
Even when
wasn't
I
it.
expected a lull, there wasn't, and then it kinda came
It
later
came
on.
later. Yeah, so I thought this was a good match. What did you think?
I thought it was pretty good. It was kinda like what I expected. The storyline wasn't really there, but I knew they'd deliver in ring because like,
They
the
do.
Bucks are amazing as always, and Claudio and Yuta are both really good in the ring.
Yes.
Maybe not equally so,
No,
but,
other
they're
than
they're
according to
they're good.
Claudio.
Yeah, but I liked it. I thought the finish was well done, and the rest of it was pretty good too. Nothing like I thought like, it wasn't amazing, obviously, but it was like it was a good match and didn't feel out of place in the card. Like, it held up
I quite enjoyed it,
the
yeah.
bar as we kept going, right?
Yep.
So, it was as good as expected for sure.
Over under accurate? What does Cage Match say?
7.1.
7.1, so that would put it at just over a 3.5. I think that is
I'd probably
pretty
go
pretty
3.5 for sure. It
accurate.
was
I'd
pretty
go
good.
3.5. I
Yeah.
think that's an accurate call by
Yeah.
them. Then we move into the match I was really looking forward to that we were thought could possibly steal this show. It is the International Championship match with Will Ospreay, the aerial assassin, taking on the Bastard Pack. Pac's one of my favorite wrestlers in the world. Ospreay is undeniably almost the best
Probably the
wrestler
best in the
right
world right
now.
now.
Like we're saying, especially after this now, he's got um,
Rest of the year
wrestler of the year
on lock.
locked up. I don't even
On
know.
lock.
He could be injured today and still win, I think.
Yeah, that's what I was saying to you is, like, at this late in the year especially, it's virtually impossible for anyone else to take it.
So it will be no secret when we
Especially not from the WWE camp.
no, I
Not even
agree.
to be like that, but just,
I
come
agree.
on.
So early on in this, a few things. Pac went for a Hurricane Rana, and Osprey landed on his feet, right, which is always impressive. Pac hits a sky twister to the floor.
His is, like, violent, though.
It
Like, the way
is,
he contorts is
and then shortly after, Osprey has to do the same thing and hits one of his own. Ricochet, we see him backstage scouting the match on a monitor. In the ring, Osprey and Pac are sort of trading strikes. Pac whips Osprey into the guardrail and then brings him back in the ring to hit a really nice avalanche brainbuster.
just always does that so
So
perfectly.
Osprey has his upper back and neck with the kin tape on it, and I would say like 90% of Pac's offense is targeted right
Yeah.
on that specific area and targeted beautifully
Yeah.
all night on that, right? Fans are already into this match here. Osprey sort of rallies back with a flying elbow from the barricade. Then we get a Sasuke special right from Osprey and a corkscrew kick to the back of Pac's neck for a near fall. Pac goes for a moonsault. Osprey, this sequence was crazy, right? Pac goes for a moonsault. Osprey catches him over one shoulder. Then Pac counters that into a DDT. Then a really snappy Liger bomb, right, for a near fall on Osprey.
Pac does a mean Liger bomb.
It really everything he does just has some extra stink on it. He's extra intense.
He does put some stank on it.
Osprey hits a standing Spanish fly. Um, Pac was able to kick out of the pin attempt there. Pac ducks a hidden blade, nails a thrust kick, and then Osprey hits an Os cutter out of nowhere. The fans are now wanting these two to fight forever, and I was sort of on board for that at this point. Pac hits a German suplex on the apron,
That was nasty.
and then a poison rana on the
Also
apron,
nasty.
and then a brutalizer in the center of the ring. Again, everything is neck and upper back targeting that he's doing. Osprey gets to the rope. The referee breaks the count, obviously. Crowd energy at this point is crazy. Pac counters a power bomb with the Hurricane Rana for a near fall. Then we get another poison Rana from Pac, and he puts on the brutalizer yet again. Osprey escapes and hits the hidden blade to Pac for a near fall.
Was that the one where he went, like, corkscrew
I
Pac?
think so.
It
There was
was
a
after the poison Rana, right? Is
yeah.
that yeah.
Uh, Pac attempts an avalanche poison Rana. Osprey lands on his
There it
feet
is, yeah.
again, crazy, and then he goes right for another hidden blade that
That's the one Pac takes corkscrew, which
just
looks
crazy,
crazy.
but still manages to kick out. The crowd energy is absolutely nuts at this point. Osprey hits an Os cutter, then a Styles clash, then the hidden blade, and does finally manage to pin Pac. Again, a lot of details in these summaries are left out here. If you haven't seen this, you need to see it. I absolutely love this match. This match I will talk about for at the end of the year when we're talking about match of the year. For me, this will be at least in the running for it for me. Just two unbelievably talented guys who athletically are off the charts.
Yeah.
They never make any mistakes. Every move they hit is clean. Every move they hit looks like it has massive impact. Some people are going to say, this is too much and there's too many. They're kicking out of too many things. I stand by. I don't care. This style,
Just adding it to my short list right now.
they're just so impressive, these two. They worked beautifully together. The crowd loved it, ate this up.
It's
How long?
even
This was not that long, right?
20 minutes.
20 minutes. So to me, like, I don't know what more you can do. It's not getting 5 stars for me only because the build and the story to
Yeah.
me matters, but
Even though he lost again, I don't know if Pac's ever looked better.
this match, he looked absolutely incredible in this match. He got some of the sequences were so fast and so crisp. If you didn't see this match, to me, this is one you have to go out to see. So I absolutely love this. I think you liked it a lot as well. What are your thoughts on this one?
Just adding it in.
You're getting it on our best of.
I'm just putting it at least in my short list so I can go back to later. I'll have to add the next match too, given
Yeah,
what
I
it
agree.
accomplished. But no, it was amazing. I was just writing that like it delivered on the lofty expectations I think most people had.
Yeah,
Both these guys, like you said, their athleticism is top of the charts, and they can match each other. And like the strikes are crisp, a lot of big moves. Pac was incredible because his offense does always look just better. But
yeah.
like you said, he was targeting Osprey's neck constantly, and like the apron offense was nasty. I like you said it, I think off air in the moment when we were done. Like the amount of times we're audibly reacting in this match
Yes, you and
is
I sitting
something.
there watching it, a father and son, and we're like, yeah, audible, visceral
Strike
reactions
move,
4 or
whatever.
5
Just
times.
yeah, right. Like
That doesn't
so
happen.
that happening over and over. That's always a good sign of a great match to me. And so yeah, this was awesome. I never like legitimately thought Pac was gonna win, but honestly, towards the end, they did a really good job of making it like I was
You
saying like he
yeah.
kind of had a chance,
It
right?
was so you're just like and then we're kinda like, well, they can just do the Osprey passes out, right? And it kinda
Yeah.
protects him when he's in the
So
brutalizer the
Pac did
second time.
come close to the point where I thought there was kind of a chance
They yeah,
at
they
some
made
point.
it even though we were sure Osprey was
Yeah.
gonna win. For it when you're in it and seeing Pac do his thing, you're like, "Maybe there's a shot,"
So
right?
I think they did an amazing job here. Definitely
I
one of
love
the
this.
best matches of the year and another feather in Osprey's cap. Like
And on any other show,
another credit for him.
on 95% of shows or more, this is gonna steal the show, right?
Yeah,
There
I
was other
think
things on this show that were also
yeah,
excellent, so
it's beaten out by at least one thing.
yeah, I don't know if it's gonna beat it out for me, but it's gonna be close for sure.
Mm.
It's really close. So we're over under accurate?
Oh yeah.
What's Cage Match saying?
9.3.
9.3. So I am actually going over slightly. I went 4 and 3 quarters for this. So that would put it at 9.5 if we were going on our scale.
I'm
Like it's not 5 stars again because of the story.
I
But I don't
agree.
know what else they can do in a 20-minute match that would elevate it.
I agree. I think I'll agree on that.
Yeah.
It's hard to make another case for it. And like the storyline's not there, but like you said, it's a pretty flawless 20
Yeah,
minutes,
amazing stuff in there.
which is hard to do.
It is hard to do. Then we move into a Chicago street fight. It's the CMLL Women's Champion Willow Nightingale taking on Chris Statlander with Stokely Hathaway in tow. I was saying this match turned out to be excellent, but I
They
felt like
got
it
the
was at
death
the wrong
spot.
point in this
Yeah,
feud.
it definitely was, but I don't think it even really mattered.
They had a hot match when the feud wasn't at its hottest, but yeah, definitely
And I'll talk about it later, but they kind of got the death spot here,
they did, but they
which I thought was kind of gonna kill them.
in a lot of matches it would kill, but these two came out and kept the energy right away, and I
Yeah,
think it's smart to put it here because it's sort of we just went through like a super high flying match and
yeah,
now we're getting
it's
like
great, but
weapons
it's
and
different, right? And
yep,
that's key.
I agree. So early on, Hathaway slides a chair into the ring. Willow hits a power bomb to Statlander into the turnbuckles, and she didn't release it, right? It was like a buckle bomb, but she held. I
Yeah,
kind of liked it.
and
Probably safer too.
then she cannonballed the crap out of Stylander's face.
Absolute mashed her with the cannonball that got up pretty high, right? For a near fall there. Then we get the steel chair is used by Statlander, and she drives Willow through the Spanish announce table with the power bomb. So Stokely and Statlander pull a table out from under the ring, and Stat went for a senton to Willow, but Willow dodged it, and Statlander crashed right through the table. So, and this was like,
Remember, like she kicked Willow in the head though, and she kind of like hit her face off the ground.
oh yeah, that
Like
Willow. I
I
was
thought
worried
she
about
was
her there.
clocked out
Oh, it
there.
looked like she
Yeah,
absolutely just got kicked in the face, and then on the replay, we're like, oh no, she just smashed her face off the ground. But yeah, she seemed to be
yeah.
fine.
No, everything seemed fine.
So this is all happening pretty early on, right? Like it's like full
They got
tilt
right into
right
it, yeah,
away.
because this one only went like just 15
Talk about
minutes,
getting a lot in
barely
15
15.
minutes.
Yeah,
Willow hits a pounce to Statlander. Statlander goes through the barricade. Fans are already into this at this point. Willow hits a lariat on the ramp. Statlander then hits a snap suplex to Willow on the stage. Stokely brings out a trash can full of various things. Statlander grabs a barbed wire wrapped baseball bat. Willow found 3 fluorescent light tubes taped together and smashed
yeah.
those
Which
over Stat's
I don't think
head.
either of us expected to be light tubes, so that was a shock for
Yes,
sure.
definitely. And that so I think Statlander bleeding after that, I think.
Probably,
And then out of desperation, Statlander just kind of spears Willow off the stage
which they did
through
perfectly,
a couple tables below that looked perfect, really satisfying, but also like probably about as safe as you can fly off of
for
the
sure.
ramp through a couple tables.
Just looks like they actually went like full send with it.
Yeah, they did. It looked great. Then we have a steel chain. Willow wraps it around her fist and drove the chain into the wound that's now open on Chris's forehead and stomped down. Statlander avoids a lariat and counters with a German suplex. Then she gets out a bag of thumbtacks, dumps them all over the place, goes for an axe kick, but Willow moves. And Statlander ends up doing the splits right on top of the thumbtacks.
I thought
So
that was kind of
again,
a cool spot.
thumbtacks are kind of, if you want to say a played out, whatever, but this was a different way of using it, right?
Yeah,
So
I like
Statlander, and
that. That was
she
pretty
had
cool.
thumbtacks stuck to her leg, right?
Not like a
So,
lot because it's like a
no,
tough angle, but like I like the inventive
me too. It was a creative
spot
use of
there. Yeah,
thumbtacks.
for sure.
Willow then follows up with a Death Valley driver, but Statlander kicks
And
out
that
at
was kind of on
two.
the tax, right?
Kind
So
of on the
they
tax.
so at least they kind of went with the follow up just to kind of like
Yes.
get more in there.
Yes. Statlander hits a Spanish fly from the top that looked pretty
That was
nice.
unexpected. Yeah.
And then hit a discus lariat with the steel chain wrapped around her arm. Then we get a dog collar pulled out from beneath the ring. But it was just it's on the wrist, so it's not really, I don't know, dog collar is
It's
the
like
right
a
term for
Russian
it.
chain match or
Um,
something.
so this was my only major problem with this match. I feel like you could have introduced a chain because the chain came in at the finish, right? But this took a bit too long to like
It
hook
did a
Willow
bit. I
on and
did
hook
think it was an
herself
odd
on.
choice, but it ended up being fine.
And yeah, it was my only sort of
I
nitpick
agree.
on
It was
this.
an odd choice.
So she gets it on Willow, gets it on herself, and then Willow hits a spine buster on the thumbtacks partially again, right away, basically. Statlander hits a tombstone pile driver, wraps the
I
chain
think it was
around
the
the face
Saturday Night Fever.
and throat of Willow. What was it, like a crossface, basically?
Yeah.
With the chain around her neck and through her mouth. And Willow finally submits in, what did you say, 15 minutes?
Just about, yeah.
Something like that. So, I mean,
This is also when we noticed Stokely calling it Saturday Night.
right. And we're like, wow, that has he been doing that a
I
while?
think
Because
so,
that's
because
smart.
her finisher name was Saturday Night Fever, and I never understood why it was that, and now it makes sense.
So about 3/4 of the way through this, I said to you, like, this is already a nominee, at least for Women's Match of the Year, right? I thought this was
It was definitely one of my favorite
terrific.
ones I've seen, especially because I didn't really care for the Mania ones as much as you.
And these two, like, killed each other, beat the hell
They
out of
went
each
full
other
send, yeah.
with this. So lots of high impact stuff, lots of not so much weaponry and stuff that I kind of got bored because they were using the stuff but hitting moves along the way
Yeah,
too.
and like some things like the splits on the tacks or the light tubes actually surprised me, so that
Yeah.
was cool.
And you were annoyed because Statlander did not have the proper gear on for this,
She
right?
didn't have Street Fighter.
She didn't have Street Fight gear. Willow at
See,
least was in.
if Willow did the splits on the tacks, she would
She
have
would
been
have been
fine.
fine.
So that's what
Because
we
we
were
were trying to
saying.
find a way to have that play into the finish, where
Yeah, where
Statlander
like
loses because she doesn't have the proper
right.
attire on. But she ended up winning. I thought this match was terrific, and again, kept the energy. And how hard is
Right.
that after the immediately after Pac Osprey?
They
But
deserve a lot of
even the
props for
matches
that,
before
right?
that,
Yeah,
right?
keeping the energy after, yeah, especially the match right before them. Because I was saying to you, my favorite match ever, and it killed Danielson Okada,
It
which is
did.
a crazy match. But like honestly, kind of hurt that for me.
Although you were not a big Okada fan at that time,
That's true, that
but
too. But even like I think we watched the
in
Wrestle
general,
Kingdom one
yeah,
this year, and we weren't huge fans of
yeah,
that either. And so for them to like follow up and still do really strong, I think speaks to how good they did here.
yeah,
I'm a little surprised Statlander won, but I'm okay with that.
yeah. I wasn't sure how this was gonna
I would
go.
preferred Willow to
Me
win,
too, but I'm okay with it.
but I'm
They
like,
both kind of need wins.
yeah. So
I
I
feel
think it
like,
works out either way, and Willow can move on hopefully and do some other stuff.
and again,
I think she'd feud with May really well because
she would.
they faced off in the Owen finals.
They packed so much stuff into this, and
Yeah,
these two were willing to do pretty much anything.
really well done,
Again, the
especially for a
only
women's match. Like the women's hardcore matches here tend to deliver.
yeah, they do. The only lull was just the time it took to put on the. I feel like the time it took to put the chain on each of their wrists, there wasn't enough payoff to that, right?
Yeah, it
I
was
get
just kind
that
of in
you
the
used it
finish,
for the finish,
but
but
you
you
could have
could have
done it
just used the
without
chain
being for
without
sure.
taking the
You
time
just had an
to.
extended chain.
So let's play over under accurate on this one.
8.93 from Cage Match
8.93. So that's like a 4.5. I went 4.25.
for a women's match. I'd agree. Yeah, 4.25.
I thought it was really, really
strong.
good.
And like despite it kind of cooling off, they did actually have a good storyline going into this.
They did.
Still,
They did.
so I'll still give them that
4.5 isn't crazy, but yeah, I'll go 4.25, and that'll be on the short list of women's matches for sure. If
for
not,
sure.
if not the front runner, I think.
And like non-title too, so that's interesting.
Yes, exactly. Um, Then we have Renee Paquette talking to Will Ospreay, who has some harsh words for Ricochet to sort of kick off that, I guess. And Ricochet just said, "Don't worry about me. I'll see you soon." So obviously, we're somehow
He
getting to.
repeated every phrase in this
He
promo.
did. His promo was very repetitive for sure. Then it's the AEW Continental Championship match with the Rainmaker Kazuchika Okada defending against Orange Cassidy, the Alpha Konosuke Takeshita, our boy, and the Ring of Honor World Champion. Now that I know that's the case, Mark Briscoe. And we get Callis joining
That was so
commentary for
fun.
this one. And people, I think, really wanted Okada Takeshita, right?
I
That was
think
what we were
that has to
all.
be where we're heading now.
That was what the crowd seemed to want in this. So they were sort of staring down
We're
early
definitely
on
going
too.
there. I'd say Wrestle Dream. I wouldn't be surprised if that's what we get.
Yeah. So they're having a bit of a stare down. Cassidy hits a double Rana to both of them. And then a DDT
Physics.
to Okada for a near fall. Briscoe starts hitting Takeshita with chops, and then that's sort of a little back and forth there. There is a cactus elbow from Briscoe onto Takeshita that looked super impactful right onto the floor. And then Cassidy does one from the other side up to Okada. Cassidy hits a stun dog millionaire to Takeshita and a vertical suplex. Briscoe and Orange Cassidy are trading strikes. Okada and Takeshita exchange elbow strikes until Okada connects with one of his fantastic drop kicks. Looks so beautiful. But Takeshita then picks him up, spins him in a nice blue thunderbomb for a near fall. Takeshita hits a superplex to Cassidy. Briscoe tries to capitalize with a froggy bow to Takeshita, but Okada jumps in to break up that pinfall attempt. Okada lands an elbow drop on Briscoe, blocks a J Driller attempt, but Briscoe hits a Rainmaker lariat to Okada and a sort of a strange twist of fate there. Takeshita shoves Orange Cassidy into Briscoe. Takeshita counters a stun dog millionaire attempt with a pile driver and a German suplex.
Yeah, it's like that tombstone right into the wheelbarrow
Looked
German. I
awesome.
love it.
Yeah, it's such a nice transition. Briscoe gets back into it, hits a J Driller on
That
Takeshita.
looked awesome.
Briscoe covers Takeshita, but Orange Cassidy pulls Briscoe out of the ring. Takeshita hits Briscoe with that power drive knee,
Love it.
but Cassidy's makes the save on that one. Cassidy goes for the orange punch, but Takeshita drills Orange Cassidy with a strike. Okada rocked Briscoe with a Rainmaker and then hit Cassidy with a Rainmaker and pinned Orange Cassidy to retain as kind of
1 second
expected.
shy of 15 minutes.
You were very disappointed that it was not your boy Takeshita,
Yeah,
but
I punched a chair
I feel like
and up
this
and the table.
did this recap not leave out was this the match with all the
The
taking
extended
turns vertical
suplexes? Yeah,
suplexing? Because I
no.
didn't like that part.
That I started to get tired of that. It
So
was very
I'm
weird.
because I didn't take notes, full disclosure, I'm just reading AEW's own. So they left that out. So clearly they know that wasn't a very well received spot either.
It
It
was
was
a bit
like I don't
much.
you were counting like 10 vertical
Yeah,
suplexes or something. It was too much for me.
it was a bit much. Other than that, though, I really enjoyed this.
Me
Like
too.
a mix of great talent, so it was as good as expected, and they kept a good pace. Other than like the lull with all the suplexes, I thought
Yeah.
like they kind of everyone was kind of involved doing stuff.
I agree. I liked it. What that other, aside from that little moment there, I thought this was really good
And
as
I think
well.
it whet the appetite for Takeshita Okada, which feels like the direction we're
I
going
didn't, there
now.
was definitely feels like that's what the crowd wants to
I'm
see.
still outraged my boy didn't get the win
You were
here,
mad. You punched the chair really hard and
and
hurt
then
your
I
hand.
punched the table too.
Yeah. So
But yeah, the other result aside, this was good. Definitely didn't kill my mood or
a
anything.
really good just multi-man match. Again, something a little bit different on this show, right? We've
Yeah, for
had
sure.
various different things, a nice variety here. So over under accurate
7.22.
7.22. So that puts it at like 3.6. I was gonna say about 3.5. So that's
I
fairly
agree.
accurate, I would say.
I concur.
Yeah, 3.5. Okay, so now we hit the lull, right? Unfortunately, but we also kind of expected that that would be the case, right?
Yeah.
So it is the TBS championship match. It's CEO Mercedes Moné taking on Hikaru Shida, and Camille is banned from ringside for this, right? So again, the build for this,
No.
no, not really. So we're already starting out of a bit of a hole here. Both women are good in the ring, so there is hope that it's good. Anyways, Cheetah drop kicks Monet 4 times and goes for the cover, but doesn't come through. She then hits a rising knee strike, and Mercedes fires back with some double knees. And then Sheeta catches Mercedes out of the air with a Hurricane Rana. Um, threw Mercedes into the turnbuckle with a reverse hammer throw. Used Sheeta's aggression against her, applying a crossface. Mercedes nails Sheeta with a lung blower and a sunset flip powerbomb in the corner. Monet then took down the Three Amigos suplex sequence there. Cheetah counters a frog splash by getting her knees up. Cheetah then hits 3 consecutive Falcon arrows for a near fall on Monet. Sorry. Monet counters the katana kick with a knee breaker and a backstabber. Cheetah then pops up and hits Mercedes with a running knee to the jaw. She hits the katana kick and then another and a third.
One of them looked killer.
And Mercedes, one of them looked like I thought like Monet is dealing with a concussion after
Yeah.
that. For sure. It was very, very hard contact. The third one sends Monet out of the ring. She tries to get a kendo stick, but Sheeta pulls it out of her hands. Sheeta thinks about using the kendo stick, but throws it down on the mat. Monet moves out of the way of a Meteora and hits a chop block and then finishes her off with, again, a not very good looking
It's never good.
Monet maker.
She just needs to stop.
Getting the pinfall win and retaining. And then Camille comes out to celebrate the victory.
16 minutes, 32 seconds.
16 minutes, eh? So this got more time than the street fight did. Interesting. The quote, an FNS regular, this was fine.
It's fine.
This was fine. This was...
But on a show where
Right.
this show, fine is bad.
This was a 3-star match for me, which is like beneath everything else. There's nothing
Agreed.
wrong with this.
3-star. Maybe on a lesser show it wouldn't stick out so much.
Did some good work, but again, no build. We know who's winning. So we got kind of what we expected, and it was the break in this show.
The action didn't like warrant it where like Pac ended up standing a chance at the end, where I was like, oh, maybe not.
Yes,
because that one had same time to build and same expected outcome,
different talent involved.
And I think the build was kind of there because actually, they kind of been building that one longer because Pac's been sitting on a title shot. So.
True, he has. So yeah, this was my least favorite match on the show, but
easily my least favorite match.
It wasn't bad. It was just fine.
Yeah, that's not to say it was horrible. It's just it's not a hard decision.
Perfectly cromulent match, right?
Sure.
Then we get back into it. It's the AEW World Championship match, not in the main event because there is a more blood feud.
As I called it.
Ready for that. So it is Bryan Danielson defending his championship against the scapegoat Jack Perry. And we get JR for these final 2 matches. And I actually thought he was good because when there's lots of drama and him to get disgusted by violence and stuff, which there was plenty of opportunity from this point on, right? That's when he's good. When he's like really, really mad about it, makes it feel real.
Like Hell in a Cell in '98.
He's mad at them for like taking liberties and getting so violent, right?
Yeah, for sure. I think I said Jungle Jack like 10 times during this.
Jungle Jack.
I like doing that.
So we get an arm drag to Danielson early on, and he gets sort of a suplex in return. Then we get Danielson sweeping Perry's legs out and puts him in like that flying submission hold. I forget what it's called.
I don't even know what that's supposed to mean.
Yeah, remember it's like he's anyways.
Oh, surfboard thing?
I think, but it's got some different name.
Like
I think that's what it was. Then we get a springboard to Perry out on the floor. Perry gets hit with a drop kick. Danielson jumps off the apron, but Perry hits a thrust kick and a draping DDT onto the floor. And then full head of steam drop kicks Perry into the guardrail. Perry nails Danielson with a neck breaker, and he chops Danielson, and obviously he chops back, lighting up the chests here. Then we get Danielson suplexes Perry from the turnbuckles, right? Danielson hits a bunch of kicks, pivots into a label lock. Perry reaches the ropes with his boots, forcing the ref to break the hold. Perry retaliates with a drop toe hold and then captures Danielson's arms, applying the cattle mutilation on the guy who does the cattle mutilation.
Yeah, well, but you'd already did it, so Will Washington slacking.
And Will Washington slacking again. Snapdragon suplex by Perry, and then a second one. And they're sort of saying that that's out of Kenny Omega's playbook. And I think Shivani was like, I miss him or something like that.
I saw this is the first All Out that he's missed.
Right.
Which is interesting.
Strike exchange on the apron. Danielson hits a butterfly suplex off the apron to the floor.
That was pretty awesome.
Looks pretty crazy. Danielson starts targeting Perry's arm, hits a guillotine leg drop, kicks Perry in the head, and then Perry applies the snare trap suddenly, right? Danielson,
I thought that was nice because I feel like we haven't, like, that's retro Perry.
And that's a pretty protected submission for a while, too. So Danielson gets his way to the ropes to break the hold. Then we get a roundhouse kick from Danielson. Perry pulls the referee into Danielson's path. Referee falls to the mat. Danielson grabs Perry, but the Bucks show up here because the referee's down. They take out Danielson with stomps and kicks, and then they spike him with the TK driver. Claudio and Wheeler Yuta come to the ring and chase off the Bucks.
As they're equals, they did it together.
That's right. Perry gets the ref back to his feet, hits Danielson with a knee to the side of the head, but Danielson kicks out of that at 2. Perry then gets Danielson wrists and begins to stomp on his head like the Blackpool Combat Club do. And Danielson countered with a huge Psycho knee as Perry comes running
Yeah,
at
I
him,
think that
right?
was the one where he went flying, right?
He did,
And there's
and then
one where he kind of did the flat out. So
yeah, this one was the flat one, I think, where he
yeah,
kind of flew across the
yeah.
ring.
I liked
Looked great.
I think it might have been before his knee or it might have been later, but Perry did like the yes chance, but instead he was doing the middle finger.
He was,
I thought
yeah.
that was kind of
It
a cool
was.
touch.
Danielson then bunch of palm strikes, rolling elbow strike, and another Psycho knee. I think that was the one where he
He
kind of
like kind of
inside
did like
outed
the
Perry.
yeah.
Perry still kicks out of it, and then he goes back to grabbing the wrist and stomping Perry's head. But Jack Perry is defiant and sits up, and he hits the Psycho knee. Perry kind of puts his arms out, right?
Yeah.
Sort of like sacrificing himself.
Because that's his thing.
Takes one more Psycho knee, and it is over. Danielson retains. How long was this one?
This one was 27, like borderline 28 minutes, which is longer than I thought it was.
So let's talk about the match itself, and then I'll get to the aftermath
That's
of that.
fair.
Okay?
Okay.
So I really liked the match.
I thought it was pretty good. I wasn't paying attention in the early stages. It wasn't super gripping me, but I thought
Yes.
it kind of found itself.
I liked it quite a bit. I thought, yeah, it was a good showing for Perry. Obviously, you're going to have a good match with Danielson. It's pretty hard not to. But I thought Perry held his own as well. Some pretty good near falls. The Psycho knee selling by Perry was fantastic. I really liked this match. I thought it fit really well
Yeah.
in this show. And
I thought it was
again,
strong.
not the strongest build. We all knew Danielson wasn't losing here. But I thought these two,
It
was
was
a
a
lot
good
of,
outing for Perry.
I thought so for sure.
It's probably better than like when he was challenging for titles as Jungle Boy, because
Mhm.
that's when he had the Four Pillars World Title match. I think he challenged Omega for the World Title in Dynamite. He faced Sonata at Forbidden Door when
Yeah.
we were there. Like so, it felt more earned than his other ones, if
Yeah.
anything. And so I thought he ended up looking pretty good at the end. Like it wasn't my favorite match on the show, and it kind of followed a dud,
It did.
but I thought it was still pretty solid.
It was
And,
back
like,
to an uptick in energy, right? It
decent
wasn't a
start for
barn burner,
Danielson.
but it
I
definitely.
think most people liked it a lot more than I did,
I'm
but I still thought it was
curious,
good.
What's the
7.88.
7.88? So that is it's close. It's a little. I'll take slightly under. I went 3 3/4. I thought by the end it was really good. Not
I'll
a 4
probably
star.
go. I'll probably go 3.5, just because I don't think it gripped me as much as other people.
And we're generally hard markers. I find like
Yeah.
we don't have any 5-star matches. Like we're not doling those out
Except for Forbidden Door.
too frequently. So really good match.
Although maybe we'll get there.
So now the aftermath. Things kind of pick up here. Christian Cage and the patriarchy come down to the ring.
After Kill Switch attacked Danielson from behind. We also had a nice
sorry.
little interaction between Luchasaurus and Jack Perry.
Yes.
Which I completely forgot. But then they were standing across from me and I'm just like, oh, and there wasn't really anything there, but it was just kind of like.
So why don't you just freestyle this summary off?
Yeah,
the
you
top
want me
of
to
your
try?
head?
Okay,
Yeah.
I got it. And yeah, so they're kind of facing off, and so now they're both kind of heels, and they're both even commentary point out they're both very different from when.
Right, when they were together.
Yeah, right. I guess they did kind of feud with. Remember, there was the cage match that was really good.
Yeah.
The famed Full Gear 2022 show.
That's right.
That was a
That
all
was a good one.
timer. But yeah, so that was kind of cool. And then this kind of all gets cut off by Christian's music hitting, so him and the rest of the patriarchy come out, and Jack Perry's kind of off now.
Yes.
That was kind of all. So I'd be interested to see if they revisit that. Maybe when Luchasaurus turns on Christian, we'll see
if it ever happens.
Yeah,
we keep
'cause
saying
they teased it all in really well, and then it's
They
I
did.
don't know. Anyways,
it's got to be coming.
they're coming out and they're walking in the ring. They're gonna jump Danielson because Christian's got that contract, right? And it's in the steel case that says next AEW champion. So I thought that was kind of funny.
Yeah.
But then Moxley stands between them in the ring. They're at the end of the ramp. Moxley's in front of the apron in his white V-neck, plain V-neck.
That's right.
Danielson looking plain gear. And they look like they're kind of standing off for a second, but they look like they're gonna take those odds, right? Because it's just Moxley,
Right.
But then the equals of the Blackpool Combat Club
climb the barricade and join.
and the Packpool Combat Club.
That's right.
They come to join Moxley. So now Christian's outgunned. They're backing off. So then they go to the ring. They're celebrating with Danielson, raising arms. Then Claudio uppercuts Danielson.
Yep.
I thought his sell was weird because he just kind of looked more surprised. It didn't even look like he got hit.
Mhm.
Claudio could have shoved him to the ground and would have been the exact same effect. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just based on the way Danielson took it. Small nitpick. Then Moxley, just the perfectly sane human being he is, grabs a plastic bag and starts trying to suffocate Danielson.
Murdering Bryan Danielson.
And meanwhile, this was a cool touch. So Pax hugging Yuta behind them, holding.
Yuta looked amazing.
Yeah, Yuta did really well here, so props to him. But so as they were raising arms, Pac's hugging Yuta, and then as this turn commences with Claudio knocking Danielson down, and then Mox is like choking him with the bag.
Pac's holding him
Pac's
back
got him in
now.
like a standing triangle, kind of like while Yuta's like begging
Can
for.
see over his
Yeah,
shoulder and
he's
is
like
like,
crying and like
yeah,
just trying to
he
get to
was
Danielson
fantastic.
by any means. So Yuta really sold this. So kudos to him because that was amazing. And then yeah, Danielson is choked out with the
And it
bag.
really looks like he is being suffocated in this bag. You can see
Yeah,
his breath is pulling the bag in and out.
yeah. And Shafir shows up eventually.
Yes.
Um, and
Super violent.
yeah, Blackpool ditches Danielson,
Yeah.
which I didn't expect.
And Yuta.
And Yuta, yeah. The most interesting part of this is that Yuta is not involved. So I'm curious what happens with the trios belts now. I would say you could transition it to Moxley,
Mhm.
but the Bang Bang Gang tried to do that with Juice, and that was not allowed. So I will not stand for that.
And so AEW, because I'm on their site and I heard this already, uh, it says even here, I'll read it to you. It says Wheeler Yuta and the AEW medical staff ran to Danielson to give him medical attention. So this is not even describing. They say, due to the graphic nature of the attack on AEW World Champion Bryan Danielson, we will be limiting our recap
Yeah,
here.
a lot of people have taken umbrage with this, expectedly
AEW
so.
will not be sharing the footage. AEW does not condone such actions. So
Yeah,
they're playing along with it, obviously, to add to like
a lot of people are really upset with
this
this.
is beyond what we expected. Yeah, it was
It was pretty
crazy
killer.
looking. So
However,
like if I were watching this with you when you were 9, I would be a little bit whatever.
yeah,
But then again, I kind of know this isn't the
that's
PG
what I say. Like, because it's like,
company, right?
yeah, AEW is a little too risky sometimes, maybe, but like this is the kind of stuff you won't see on WWE because they'll never take this kind of chance. So I like to see it, and in the grand scheme of this night, this is unfortunately pretty tame.
And this company has a history of this. So if you're watching at this point,
Like
like
we had
this is post Swerve Hangman, they had
in a
their
post Texas Death world.
right. So
And like, and also Danielson like did the seizure cell off of the Tiger Driver. Like
right.
Danielson's no stranger to these like hyper realistic,
Yes.
not near death, but like these catastrophic cells, right? So it's no stranger to him. I'm like, as if I wasn't interested enough in what Moxley was doing.
Yeah.
Now,
So now it's Mox, Claudio, Pac, Shafir.
yeah,
That's it, right?
that which is interesting.
Yeah.
Good for Pac.
Yes. Good for Pac for
Um,
sure.
I'm very interested, and so we still have Darby Allin in play, right? Because
Yeah.
Mox is still after him.
Seems to be that's the first target kind of thing.
And I've been saying to you, I feel like there's a chance Moxley's the one to end Danson's career.
Could
I would
be.
like someone to get the rub, but just because, like, especially with ending careers, I remember everyone wanted John Cena and Kurt Angle, right?
Yes.
Not Baron Corbin, obviously.
What?
But
Baron
like
Corbin.
that would be kind of that to me because they have that history and because of Blackpool.
Hmm.
Or like someone like Nigel McGuinness, not him because I don't think that's
And
really
it's two
feasible.
mega stars, right? So
Right.
Danielson's spending the last whatever of his career
Going
putting
out on
people
top,
over.
right?
So he might want to just
Yeah. I think he would want to do
make
that,
his
but
pick for who
anyways,
retires him.
this is a great angle for a pay per view. Like, we want to talk about all the quality matches here, but I think because some pay per views, you have the big ending angle, and I feel like on any other show, this would be your closing
Yeah,
angle.
right.
But nonetheless,
And
still
on
a
any
really
other
great
show,
angle.
this is the most violent thing you're gonna get. But
yeah, on any
on
other
this
show,
show.
this is the most disturbing thing ever. So I'm very interested to see where this goes. I'm
too.
like, again, just no answers, but I thought this was really well done, and the only time you see it coming is when they're all standing there too long.
Mhm.
But other than that, because like I think that's when I could see you getting suspicious.
Yeah.
But other than that, this was
I
completely out of left field.
I was suspicious when Moxley he seems to be distancing himself from Blackpool, but I understood when he came out to help. Even if you're distancing yourself, this is still your crew.
Because that's how they operate,
and you're not
right?
looking to
Yeah.
have them get jumped by 4 people.
Yeah.
But then once he was like raising his hand and hugging him, I'm like, that's a little too far from a guy that was
Right.
like.
But at
distancing
that
himself.
point, it's too late, right?
Yes.
And so I think before that, like, I didn't think this was coming.
Yeah.
Even though I was expecting Mox versus Danson, I thought like it would just be kind of
Right.
something we just work to.
Yeah.
Not like because no one's ever been to this point. Like the 2 years they've been around, Blackpool's never turned anyone. No one's been booted out. They kind of go their separate ways sometimes.
Yes, but then they always come back.
Exactly. So this is interesting.
I do worry about Wheeler Yuta a little bit.
I do too.
Being set adrift without major stars
I mean,
attached
hey,
to him.
maybe he's down to
but-
conglomerate.
Maybe most people are, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's gonna lead us to the main event. Actually, no, that's the end of the show.
That
They tell
is
us,
the end of the show.
right? That basically because this final match is unsanctioned and lights out or whatever, it's not real. So the show's over here, but it is. Hangman Adam Page taking on Swerve Strickland with Prince Nana there. You were disappointed because it's the super tight cage, like sits on the apron. Like
Yeah, and usually
unfair
they
to Hangman takes away the buckshot.
yeah, usually they don't do that. I feel like it would take away the buckshot if it's any cage that's not Hell in a Cell,
Yeah,
but usually their cage goes slightly around the ring, so like they could squeeze in there and maybe grab something.
yeah,
Nana did throw in weapons because they
he
were
did.
brawling
As it
before
was
the cage
lowering,
lowered, yeah,
yeah.
and they
So
even tried to like trap each other
they
under
did.
which almost happened to Rollins once in
It
2014.
was like they're trying to get the other decapitated by the ring lowering, and Nana's shoving in a chairs and a table, I think, before the ring is even closed
Chair,
in.
table, other stuff. Hangman had stuff for sure.
He did. There's like a box full of
There's a
stuff.
box. I think Hangman had a bag or something.
And so we get a really early house call from Swerve in this, right? And then Page with a German
Swerve's
suplex.
got like this white gear that's got flames and like the pictures of his house on there and everything.
Yeah,
So
it was
really
cool.
cool gear from him.
Yeah. Page gets a staple gun out of the box, of course, and staples Swerve in the chest. And again, you see Swerve pulling
He's
the
getting
staples out
this time. Yeah,
later.
this time he actually pulls some staples out. Like
Yeah.
I hate it so much. Like it's just
So
I love it, but I hate it.
Swerve gets control of the staple gun, staples Page in the back, hits a backbreaker, and then pulls out photos of his family and staples the family photo to the
Which
chest
is a
of
nice
Hangman
callback
Page.
because Hangman, remember, he stapled the finger painting to
Yes.
Swerve in the Texas Death.
And then another photo is stapled to Hangman Page's face, like to his cheek, as you do, right? So Swerve starts using the cage as a weapon, grabbing Page from the top turnbuckle and throwing him into the sort of the cage. Page pulls Swerve's legs. Swerve lands split-legged on the top rope, crotched himself there. Hangman grabs barbed wire, wraps it around his right arm, and hits Swerve with the clothesline, with the obviously the barbed wire. And then Page sends Swerve headfirst into the cage. And Page is kind of yelling at the crowd, like, "This is your man," right? Like, sort of doing some crowd taunts. Swerve comes back with a clothesline to Page. Swerve charges at Page, but Page dodges it, and Swerve's momentum, along with some help from Page, sends Swerve to crash into the cage. Page then takes Swerve's head, grinds it across the barbed wires of the barbed wire and the cage. Sorry. We get a big boot from Page, and as Page is arguing with the referee about a steel chair, I don't know why that would be the case in a cage match, but Swerve hits another house
Especially the one
call.
that's unsanctioned.
The ref went to pick up the chair. Um, Again, I don't really know why, but and this was kind of a little contrived looking, right? Where Swerve jumps off the referee's back
Hangman
and
did that. I
and
remember
nails the buckshot.
he had a Texas Death against Archer, and they had taken out the top rope
I feel like the
to
ref had to stay
take out the
crouched here a
buckshot.
little long,
Yeah, a
though.
little bit.
Swerve then hits Page with a steel chair. Swerve lawn darts Page into a steel chair
That
that
looked
was
awesome.
wedged in the turnbuckle. Looked incredible from multiple angles. And then Swerve pulls out a cinder block and puts it on the mat. And I assume that this is the WWE made of like
Hey, even AEW's done that before with like Keith
the
Lee and
cinder
like
blocks that crumble on
yeah,
impact into sawdust or whatever.
Swerve's literally done that before, so the precedent's been set.
This was not
It
it.
was in Texas Death.
He basically drops Page down. I forget what the move was. The
It
cinder
was
block
Vertebreaker.
does
It
not
was
budge.
Vertebreaker.
And sorry, was it
Vertebreaker.
vertebrae? Oh, right. And
Like Page scrapes off
Page's
the end.
back is
Scrapes
instantly
off the
scraped.
end. You
So
can see the cut, the scrape on there, and like that would make me miss because that reminds me of like falling off my bike
yeah,
and hitting the pavement. You know, scraping off the pavement, that kind of thing. And that I hate that.
so real cinder block in use. This
Oh,
is crazy.
100%.
Then they're both up top, and we get Swerve hitting a Swerve stomp. Page crashing through a table in a spot that looked really good
That
as well,
was really
right?
well done. Yeah, he's kind of like hanging from the top rope, and then Swerve stomps into the table. They did it perfectly.
Looked good. Swerve looks for another house call, but Page counters with a dead eye for a near fall.
Also good.
Page pulls out now what they call a splinter of burnt wood from when he burned down Swerve's house.
That's
So
just
he tries to hit Swerve with it. Like I think he was going after his eyes with it.
eye for an eye.
Swerve counters an armbar, takes the spike away from Hangman, and starts just jamming him in the forehead with it, right? To sort of open up a cut there, I think. And Page hits Swerve with a low blow and then power bombs him onto the cinder block.
And you can see Swerve's back like fold like that
it looked awful.
over the cinder blocks against like just there's no give on that and just
Nothing.
hitting like you can see the way his back bends around it.
Yes.
Like it was just not good.
Still not enough. Swerve kicks out at 2. Tony's wondering what it's going to take to win at this point.
You don't want to answer that.
Swerve rallies again, hits a power bomb against the steel cage to Page, hits another house call, connects with another one, but Hangman still kicks out.
House Call always looks awesome.
Swerve goes to climb to the top of the cage, but Page stops him and power bombs him from the top
Awesome
turnbuckle.
bomb.
Basically an awesome bomb. Page hits a dead eye for a near fall and then rams the edge of a chair into Swerve's forehead. That got a pretty good
Repeatedly.
reaction from the crowd
A couple
there.
times there, I think.
And Swerve is laughing, right? Swerve is doing that like demonic, you can't really hurt me. I'm just laughing at you as you're trying to kill me. Swerve gets to his feet and then just sort of collapses at the feet of Hangman. Hangman pulls, oh, right. He reaches into Swerve's mouth, right? And rips out his grills. And then he goes back and I think it was in the box, wasn't it? Go ahead. You can take this part.
I'm good.
He pulls out a hypodermic needle
Uh,
and jams it into Swerve's mouth. And then, he didn't
like
poke it through his
I
cheek.
think that's what he was going for.
Yeah. And then he takes out a steel chair and just absolutely starches
Like
Swerve
to where
with an
his head goes
unprotected chair
through
shot.
the chair.
So
Obviously gimmicked there,
Gimmicked
but
chair again,
still killer.
but looked
And
at
Swerve's out.
fantastic.
He's out.
Swerve is out. Referee calls for the bell. So this match is stopped. How long was this one?
31-22.
So this was an absolute, just a car crash and just like beyond violent with real cinder blocks and tables and barbed wire and staples and
Needles.
burnt pieces of wood and hypodermic needles. Like, I still say the Texas Death was better than this, but this
I
was
feel like I
crazy.
do like the Texas Death better because it was one like the first of its kind and
Yes.
just real like the awe factor that will just because the first time, right?
Yes.
But this was a worthy successor.
So this is now like, this is approaching kind of an all-time feud, right? You already have two incredible, bloody, violent matches, and these two are both still, we always say, like in their prime.
Yeah.
Signed with this company, probably long term.
Swerve
so
is for sure.
we can come back to this.
Absolutely.
But yeah, this was.
I don't know where you go after this though, because like this might have been the most disturbed I've ever
This
been.
went from entertaining into
in a match.
uncomfortable.
It was
right?
very uncomfortable at the end. Like the reaction I had when he was doing the needle, and like I think both of us it was similar, but like the reaction I had both in face and just like how wincing
Yes.
and like just
And
the visceral reaction.
I get people thinking this is too far, and you know me,
almost agree.
I'm a super non-violent person, like incredibly non-violent. But at the end of the day, this is two grown men deciding to do this with their bodies. I mean, would I ever do it? No. Would I ever recommend somebody do it? Of
No.
course not. Will I watch it every time and enjoy myself? Absolutely. So I don't know.
It was a little disturbing though. I loved it. Don't get me
was
wrong.
super disturbing.
But like,
and I don't know if the needle actually came through. I think that's what they were going for.
I think that's what they're going for, and I don't want to know.
But I do believe he was legitimately stabbing his mouth with this needle.
Either way, I don't really want to answer that question.
Insane match. Just, to me, if you didn't see this show and you listen to us or other people to see what you need to cherry pick, you cherry pick this. I would watch the Willow Statlander match
I go this, Street Fight, and
Osprey Pac,
for sure.
Obviously, right? So that's three fantastic matches on this show.
I think mostly everything else is pretty stellar too. Like this was really top to bottom pretty
stellar. And the worst match on it was 3 stars, so it's fine. Which not a chore.
Is incredible to me because again, I feel like All Out last year was pretty good, and they do it with such little time.
Yeah,
which I think is a testament to like how good their pay-per-views tend to be, regardless.
I remember last year we were thinking, oh, this is going to be a letdown,
and it ended up
being better, really I think, than All
too.
In. I would say this was
definitely better than All In. I saw someone compare it though, like All In was kind of like the heartwarming, all pro wrestling love kind of,
and this
is just like the gritty, violent.
Yeah,
like
sure is.
They're it's a tale of two very different shows for sure.
And again, this is separating yourself from WWE. WWE's not doing this, right? Yeah. And that's why it makes their sort of no DQ matches tough to watch because it's like
and it's
very bland.
Their whole last show, the Berlin one, is completely missable, and I thought this was just like appointment viewing.
I was just listening to someone else talk about they thought the Punk match was awful. And that people are just like, they love Punk, so they say
I think that's
good.
what a lot of it is. Yeah, and like, I don't know. Like, I was thinking if anyone from WWE, it's like Cody does not hold a candle to Ospreay in terms of wrestler of the year.
No. But he fits with the WWE.
He does,
brand
but like
and style.
I'm saying nothing over there for me is even close to like what tops the year. And so this is probably a strong contender for show of the year
Yeah.
because
Oh, what's the over
it
under
was
accurate on
fantastic.
this?
This one was a 9.24, so slightly under the international.
So I'm I'm torn. I don't know whether to give it the same mark, a 4 3/4, as Pac and Osprey, because I feel like what maybe it lacked in technical whatever, it
Made
makes
up
up
for it
for
in
in build.
story and
Correct.
in the
So I
violence.
think I'm going 4 3/4 for this too.
I
And
think
that's
so
2 matches
because
on this show. That's
I don't
wild.
think we rated the Texas Death 5 stars.
No,
Maybe
we're
we
really
did.
stingy.
Maybe
We
we
are
did,
very
and I don't
stingy.
remember, but I don't know for sure.
Yeah.
And
Anyone who's
this is
listens to us,
not
let us know.
we just said this is not better, so consciously I can't give it 5 stars.
Agree.
But this was as close to a 5-star match as I've seen in a while.
Yes.
Fantastic.
Two
It left me
matches,
speechless at the end. And Hangman's just like his incensed yelling at the ramp, like he looks
and his hair was looking
and his
amazing. Like,
mustache and just his
yeah.
eyes, like he looks like he was satisfied, but also not. Like I
Yeah.
don't know where he's at after this because he got what he wanted, but like,
True.
is it over?
Yeah, I don't know where we go from here.
Right? Like,
And they can't keep topping themselves. They almost need to put some time in between whatever they're gonna do next with each other because
oh, absolutely.
these 2 are pretty fresh in our
If they
minds. So
go much further, they will.
they'll be dead. Someone will
There
die.
will be murder.
Or paralysis or
It
something.
will be a literal death match.
So amazing. And I like overall grade for this show's easy. This is an A show.
It's an A
Like
show.
I don't care. I don't care that
Don't
there's
need to go
1
technical.
3-star.
Yeah.
So we have 2 4 3/4 star matches, a 4 1/4 women's match, a 4-star opener as far as I'm concerned,
Yeah.
right? And then like a 3 3/4, a 3.5, and a 3. So to me, like
Nothing
was
below a 3, and only one's a 3.
super, super high quality. And 2 that if people want to argue about it, they're 2 5-star matches on this show, I'm not gonna
Sure.
fight too hard about
Yeah.
that, right? So easily an
A
A
show worth
for
talking
me.
about. So
Great, fantastic show. If you didn't see it, go find it, and you can pretty much watch everything on here. And if you're cherry picking again, you're going main
those are
event,
the 2 matches you want.
and you're going Pac
Absolutely.
and Osprey.
And I'd maybe even watch the world title match just to catch the aftermath.
Yeah,
Just to catch that angle since they won't be re-airing it.
the show was so good that we carved out time to talk about it before Saturday. And on top of that, that was your idea.
That
So
is true.
that's never happened.
That is true.
I think that's literally never happened. So the fact that you're the one going, we should probably go downstairs and talk about this show.
It
means
was
a banger.
left an impression for sure.
A show, fantastic work again on such a short turnaround from a previous pay-per-view.
Yeah.
Thoroughly impressed. I was down at Mike's garage watching a bit of the Bills game earlier today. I'm about to go spam a whole bunch of football, as the kids would say. And I was telling him about this match, and he's like, "Really?" And I'm like, "Yeah, man, like real cinder blocks and like needles through people's cheeks." And
I would love to show them that, but I don't know if I feel
no, it's
I don't know if I feel
it's
right
too
about
much for a
that.
non-wrestling fan.
It
Unless
is.
actually for Mike, because he's such a horror fan,
That's yeah, right.
you might actually be.
But I don't
smart
know if
to show
I'd
him that.
feel good about myself showing this to regular people.
No, it's tough. It's tough to watch this one for
Yeah.
sure. But yeah, I
Pac
don't know.
Osprey though.
I don't know if you have any other comments, but a fantastic
No,
show.
it's like a couple better matches away from being pretty perfect.
Yeah, like it wouldn't take much for it to be an A+ show. You know
It
what I
does.
mean?
No, it's not far off for sure. And so, I'm looking forward to Wrestle Dream, Full Gear, World's End.
But this is front runner for show of the year.
I think so.
I think so,
Honestly,
too.
good luck topping this.
Right.
Good luck.
Yep. So I think that's going to wrap up our review of All Out 2024. If you're new checking us out, thanks for checking us out. We do a weekly show every Saturday. It comes out. We're up to 216
You got 3 hours to
episodes
spend on a weekend.
already. So yeah, we really appreciate it if you tell somebody about us. If you think we're doing good work, we're trying to grow it a little bit. We don't try very hard, obviously. You can see how many followers and views we have for 200 episodes in. It's a fun hobby for us. If it takes off, awesome. If not, whatever. I'm going to keep doing it. Anyways, we'll be back here next Saturday for episode 217. Thanks for tuning in. Until then, everybody, take care.